this is their home. It's a different tier for G2.
Yeah, there's layers to this. Aspas was someone who wasn't really able to get active on the map against Sen yesterday. That was the most glaring thing from us, because this is one of those maps where, yeah, he plays that Neon and wants to try and hit hard, hit fast, but was stopped in his tracks time and time again.
A difference between that game against Sen and this one, though, is that MIBR gets to start on attack side with this Neon. Again, they're going up against a Sentinel who's confident. Hey, that's a great way to start for Aspas. Shuts down Valen instantly as he's caught in an awkward situation trying to escape. And now MIBR have the opportunity to get the spike down and maybe try to fight forward, get some additional space.
Same story as what we saw in Haven, right? It's Valen solo anchoring a site, getting overrun very quickly, and reinforcements just not being there. G2 trying to get active, of course. There's going to be a bit of a heavy mound fight coming, and Artazine now knows it. Their arrival's been heralded by the flash, by the drone. Artazine has nowhere to go. He's going to stand and fight, and better hope he gets out alive. Not to be. Headshots for everybody, apparently. Cortesia joins the long list of players down by cranial impacts.
It seemed like we were barreling towards a 3-0 for pistol rounds in this series for MIBR, and G2 were able to absolutely trounce them in that mound fight. Just swinging together as a unit, overwhelm the two players that were stationed there from the MIBR team. Let's just see this on the replay. This was Aspas, of course, getting that initial kill, and we're looking at him to be doing a hell of a lot of that, playing Neon against Snow Sentinel.
Oh.
Ultimately, did not matter. Leaf connecting some sick taps.
Yo, I'm insane.
And you're going to want to be in a map like this after a tough grind on Haven. But that's just what G2 are looking for. MIBR down now to 66.6% pistol win rate in this series, folks. A little lower than the average as of late, and there's G2. Already start with Leaf right where he's got to be. He hits him where it hurts. Oh, Ghost Action from him. Verno is at least able to extract a frag. And that spike's on the wrong side of this dark cover.
I don't know how Leaf was able to get a second one. That is kind of crazy that he was stunned up and still able to get arts in. Jaw cleans up the last few, and take a look at the status of his ult. He is just one away from a dimensional drift on the bonus.
Seeing them happen pretty darn fast. So important on this kind of map for that crazy mobility that you have access to.
How did he get away with the kill on Arts? I mean, if he doesn't get that, there is a chance for MIBR to then scale into the site and maybe get the spike down. They're probably not going to win, but they could have gotten some more cash. So
time to jump.
Honestly, does have some decent level of impact that he's able to get that second one while stunned up.
MIBR, we saw this yesterday. They love to fight. They want to fight Rubble or hard hit B fast with the Neon. Already up towards Street. Chalk has a peek, doesn't like what he sees, and decides to wait for a chance to get value out of the Stinger.
Matter of fact, he's just going to teleport away. That is not the kind of location you want to be in. Fighting players back Rubble with an SMG.
Look at all this stall. A lot of time being brought here. And this isn't to say that MIBR are committed to A, but they don't actually have any inserts anywhere else on the map. So G2 now can move up. MIBR's information is now no longer current.
For these two G2 players, though, do they really want to push
It's ratty
that far with these weak weapons? Trent is exploited, and there's really no opportunity for Valen to trade that far away with a Stinger either.
He was holding the line as if that was the plan, though. Maybe just undecided about where to put himself. Could have crossfired, you know, in that same position that Trent was, I guess.
And now MIBR have done some good work, dragging rotates away from this A side. They got util out of Jonah earlier. His fault line is back up, sure, but he is positioned close and he's alone.
Professor P. Oh, it's tough. The Neon runs past and Artazine dispatches him handily. Valen will head to pit. Probably happy he's not the first one on the site this time around. Actually gets to play the game. Isn't quite armed as well as he'd otherwise like. Snakebite will force him out of the pit. Artazine studiously looking skyward, sees everybody drop down in front of him, which is the clone. He guesses correctly.
Toxin screen down.
Some fair damage from Leaf. To the 1 versus 3. We're not going to think better of trying to take that. Duel doesn't want to throw his gun away. They matter a lot more for MIBR than they do for G2 at the moment. Able to convert. I like the way that they were able to double back on that round. Clear out those players, specifically Trent, who had pushed up towards B in this moment.
Yeah, what's the plan there for Valen and Trent?
And then once he's removed, G2 feel like they need to rotate back cover their bases over towards B and C side. And it's at that moment that MIBR just pivot towards A. Man, this guy's, Josh is really becoming more emotive.
Again, there is pressure in this game. This is, again, these teams are very hungry to win. That top seed means so much. Aspas gets a tickle there from those salvos that come in. Jonah P now has got the big iron. Okay, could have been deadly that.
MIBR, again, similar to the last round, are opting to put all of their emphasis on A early and allow anyone from G2 to push up behind them. Obviously, with no Sentinel, they don't have any of the passive info that you could gain from having tripwires. They are going to be relying on just fully hard re-clearing everything together as a team. And again, a minute on the clock, they're going to do just that. Last round, they caught Trent playing close, but on the full buy, G2 are not going to be getting that aggressive.
Yep.
Poison's off.
So Jaw saw something that makes him want to pull off that A line as well, alongside with Professor P. Is Leaf at Mound, though. And it's just him. He is so nice one to take. However, okay, plot armor gets across the gap, no worries. Again, Valen struggles in this B position.
Hit it on the pit out from Leaf. I love this from G2. They've stacked up 3 players on B. Enjoy. You can either go into the pit or you're going to come into the stack right now.
Yeah, either one. It's going to be brutal. Jonah wants to try and spray him down. It's a little awkward, though. Verno punches him. Jorgamo has to try and gate crash out. He gives up that space, but Trentio's in baby door. He needs to wait, though, for his opportunity. Wait for Jorg to get back on the line. He dimensional drifts into the site. And there's Trent with the timing. Off the flash. It's perfect. Just like they drew it up. Funneling MIBR over to B with that Viper's Pit on C.
That is some beautiful defensive play, and it's critical as well that Leaf, who already has 9 kills, by the way, who put up 30-odd something on Viper the other day, getting this kill against Art Zin, and then being able to back off, put up the cloud, and then sends this pit as well. I mean, look.
What was
Getting on the pit. So good. He's playing so well today.
Both maps stand
Insane.
out.
It knows that they're being funneled into B, knows they have to go through the door. All right, get on top of the box. Get another angle to get a kill. He's so cerebral.
Valen wants to be more proactive on this C hold. And he'll have Jorg early doors to help him out here. Okay, there's Leaf striking again. It's just a solo player. The lurk is down now over an A. This narrows things down drastically for G2.
He's up to 10 on the board now. The entirety of the map feels like it's under the control of G2. They're pressed up on Mound. Leaf controlling towards A. Double facing with Trent Aspas, trying to get forward.
Does get over the rubble, over the mound. So now there's some control of this part of the map. Okay, just like the previous round, Jorg sort of swings that and then pulls off entirely. The weaker point for G2, just in these like mid-round pushes up for info has been B. This time though, playing a bit more passive, converging on that A side while MIBR are going to hit C hard and fast.
He's going to rip it straight away onto the C site. It's dodged by Valen. This is still a 4 versus 5, by the way.
30 seconds.
But G2 will be happy to play retake.
A battle of the util under the sun gets employed there. And yeah, looks like MIB are going to end here. Valen happy to pull off the side entirely. Now, no big util ultimates from G2, but they've got plenty of initiated to work with.
What are they going to do now, MIBR? Do they try to fight for some space? Try and catch off G2? There are 3 players coming from Mount. Yes, they want to fight into Waterfall.
It's closing though. This is getting dangerous. Jonah can't push into Waterfall quite yet. There's Verno dealing with Leak. Jorg has to break through here. Numbers are even. MIBR's last 2 stacked up here at Waterfall, and it's a dangerous proposition for G2 to defuse. Valen steps up, and Cortezia sits down. It's on Aspas now. Fast lane in. Jorg gets it to half, then gets off. Another tap. This is going to keep Aspas honest. Keep him wondering. Oh, what the heck was that? Pops up. Fortunately, Valen's played whack-a-mole before, apparently, and has enough time for the defuse. But I tell you what, seeing Aspas, you had to believe it was possible.
that should not have been doable.
That is like
any means of how the game is supposed to operate. That was.
It's like watching Arsenal on a zipline. Try and shoot. The same
it
thing.
Really is. Oh my god.
Again, players like Aspas make their own rules. That was sickening.
All right, collecting my thoughts there for a moment. Leaf is just out of control right now when you're looking at the scoreboard. He's got G2 in a solid early position.
These are costly rounds, though, for G2. Fortunately, MIBR is in a bit of an economic trough while theirs is teetering, so it shouldn't hurt them too much.
Stone going to be sent out by Trent towards the B side. Finds out that at least no one is playing close. Certainly weary that a G2 player could be on the tight angle here. But
that is Jonah P spraying past Jaw's head there. Okay, he's spotted out. So cat's out the bag. Bucky's back in the pocket. Off we trot.
Verno hoping to catch him with his stun, but it just goes a little short. While all this noise is being made, though, and the Teo is showing presence towards A, it's an MIBR intending on hitting the C site, hoping that that initiator pressure will drag rotates, but it hasn't.
Okay, the fast lane gets Aspas in, sprays! Wayward, he finds one though, and Leaf is perched up, proud as a peacock on these boxes, and he's sending him off to shipping, FedExing them out of the map. And Verno and Artazine with 2 stingers, under extreme duress, under covering fire from his own, have got to extricate themselves.
One enemy.
Oh, buddy!
On the frenzy flank, Jaw cleans them up. This defensive side is just a Lotus masterclass. At no point are MIBR getting into a site where they are at an advantage, constantly running into multiple players with great setups here. Leaf tucked in the corner on the box. It doesn't even matter that Valen goes down early because he's in that position. Trent rotates in, sets up the crossfire from Waterfall. They have delay utility from main. They're being swarmed from behind. It's so excellent.
And they've conditioned that Valen is often the solo player on that side. It's a fast lane thrown up by Aspas that makes it impossible for MIBR to see that box, let alone check it properly. The perfect storm works against MIBR and they're swept away. And yeah, a justified timeout now, of course, as they've been able to get the guns back in hand.
They are early on definitely making you believe that their loss on this map the other day certainly was just a one and done, and that will never be happening again because this gameplay on defense so far is really stellar. That being said, though, we still need to get them on attack because yesterday, that is where the real struggles came in. But honestly, at this rate, what are they going to need on attack? 2 rounds? The way that they're playing, they might not need many to get over the finish line.
Again, it's the same question marks, the same questions levied at the same individual. It's Aspas on the Neon. Can they really get this guy going? He's fast, he hits these sides very quickly, but G2 are never rattled by this. They've always got a contingency, a protocol to deal with that bat out of hell that flies at them every round.
This is going to be a force up from MIBR, who are sitting on a few ultimates. Could maybe even see out of the timeout. Cortezia use that from the shadows to get behind the defensive team on C. G2 are intent on fighting forward.
Oh man.
Shaw wants to get that dimensional drift. He's going to be suppressed. Can't teleport away.
Bot line comes in, but do they know there's another play here? I'm not sure. Oh, Aspas runs past. Jogamo able to find 2, doing the most. And it's an unreasonable impact to have at C after being stunned up.
Stunned and suppressed. He can't gatecrash away. He's stuck there.
He can shoot, brother. That's all he needs to do. Just squeeze the trigger finger. And MIBR now are cut adrift, lost at sea.
God, that is MIBR getting nightmare flashbacks to what Zekin did to them on Yoru in positions like that yesterday. Succumb to so many multi-kills from their opposition on this map.
And again, it's Aspas who tries to get running literally early and then gets cut down. Late re-explore there for G2. Verno is not ready for it. Better be saving these boys.
60 HP for Artsin. Shenum is pushed up very far towards A.
Yet to frag.
The only chance that he could get his first on the board right now onto Trent, but it's not looking likely. Sprayed down to 58.
Hit by the special delivery, and they didn't hold the spice. He's feeling it.
22 seconds remaining. Do MIBR even try to get into the site at this point, or do they hope that they can just save the guns and move on to the next round with
Look at them being corralled.
That is the choice.
They are being encircled.
10 seconds left.
You know, G2 don't have the greatest economy at the moment, despite being in a large lead. The rounds have come down to 1 or 2 players surviving, so they don't want to go too crazy hunting. Okay, just some predictive spam, and Shenum goes down.
Okay.
They think they're so secure.
Now again, important kills for MIBR, I guess, but the economy of G2 is really getting rolling now. Let's see this back. Oh.
They are just so locked in on Valen running away back towards the site that they pay no mind to the potential of Jaw to be staying there.
Got your get back.
Just demonic chuckle. But this is G2 conditioning. Like now, there's a second player playing off that Omen.
Okay, they're doing it again. 2 players pushing.
3.
Oh, Jaw, but he's
Three.
shut down. It's the trade by Valen.
Big investment here for G2. It's gotta have to pay off. Arzine, stuck in that corner, doesn't have a way to get out except smoking himself off, or getting smoked off. He's able to get out. Trent. Shenum through the wall. Trent's at the stand up, but always G2 stacked up in 2s and 3s.
Verno and Arts in the last 2 remaining. Swung on by Jonah, but he is denied of a kill, and it's down to the 2 versus 2. 2v1.
Crispy with it is Valen, but he is cut down. It's Leaf, the one player you do not want to have to clutch against. Against his up-and-comer, cerebral IGL in Arzine.
Look at the amount of angles that Artsin has to be concerned about at the moment. Leaf could be coming from anywhere.
Bam! What a shot! What a clutch! MIBR get a much-needed second round on the board.
Desperately. G2 committing a lot to that C fight. This was the round, I thought it would be the one out of the timeout, but the one after, where Cortezia went for the From the Shadows teleport behind the enemy team. He immediately goes down off that play. It was read by G2. They win the fight over towards Mound. And Artsin brings them a desperately needed clutch. He goes off on map 1 Haven, and he's going off for them on map 2 Lotus. This is the depth of talent on MIBR on display. They have a roster full of players who have the potential to be the star on any given day.
But I think they'd like them all to be firing at the same time. That's not happening though. Okay, Leaf takes his chances there. Aspas able to bring him down, and any chance of reprisal cut off. G2 throwing Armageddon in the way. Verno has his build up in this round, and the Valen takes the timing. Okay, it's messy, very messy. And Jonah P is the last one standing with the Odin. No armor to speak of, and no lifeblood in his veins.
Can't be mad at G2 for trying to force the issue there when MIBR were just congested in Baby Door. And they were certainly not the favorites to trade that out in their favor, but they did. Aspas tucked in that corner. He gets his first kill on Leaf. Trent wanted to trade it, couldn't do it.
One enemy remaining.
G2 just want so desperately to get the kills while they're encircled.
And this is like a fastball B hit that MIBR were mixing in every now and then against Sentinels. It's one of their more successful attack side plays.
Out of that timeout call, MIBR have rallied back. 2 rounds put G2 on an eco. They were looking all out of sorts, but they are straight back into this half. Look, you're not loving getting 3 on Lotus on attack. You're hoping for a lot more. It's an attack favorite map typically, but so they are taking what they can get as G2 are pushing through their own spawn. Shenum on watch!
Not bad from Shenum, and he's done enough there. There was a wrap from G2 pushing out a B. There's always something happening on that part of the map. And MIB also were aware. Trent's got a rifle to hand now. Cortezia drops down. Paranoia out, stays safe behind rubble. Oh, okay, cheeky little timing. Gets that extra frag.
Now there's a chance for G2 to go for this.
The off-angle
Leaf
swing.
collects onto Verno here.
Player standing.
Yeah, hand straight to head there. Bit of a scratch. Verno had to flick awfully fast. Trent here playing with house money, essentially. The round is all but lost for G2. He'd like to try and do some damage.
Might as well, didn't even come into the round with the rifle. Does collect a third, but is shut down. MIBR finding a lot of success after the timeout called. Fraud putting them in position to end this half with a respectable minimum 4 at this point.
Oh man, that could have gone ugly.
That could have been disastrous. If Leaf gets that kill,
And he has upper control.
recovers the rifle,
Not even close, baby.
a totally different situation.
I'm out of here.
Look at the amount of ults that G2 have right now. Is Leaf going to try to use this pit straight away just to control C and the rest of the team stack up towards A? It's possible.
He's actually getting info first, so he doesn't want to use it unnecessarily. Big fight though for Rubble. We like to see these. Here comes a rolling thunder though. Catches Cortezia out. Aspas though holds his own. Jonah isn't able to capitalize at all. Trent tucked it out. Takes a fight to Aspas on the move. He goes careening into the door. Armageddon up here for Trent now, Jorgamo.
Might even be able to combo that Armageddon with some of this information from the dimensional drift if they really want to risk it.
Yep, he's yapping, relaying it. Leaf might even have been looking at this flank opportunity now. He can double up. Verno dropped down. Here's that Armageddon. Played off perfectly by G2. Well worth using the ultimates in this kind of round. And it gets them the result they were looking for.
That was a beautiful combo. And Jaw gets out on the backside of Rubble, doubles up with Leaf. They fight together. Could have been dangerous for a second because Leaf was on that flank and they were totally unaware, but it all works out according to plan. But you have to give credit to Trent.
Bam!
That's a sickening shot onto Aspas.
Aspas getting a little bit more active here, but no more involved. Dropping in these early rounds, and again, you want that Neon sometimes to make that space, so you at least trade them, but with the walls up everywhere, it can be messy.
Again, this is MIBR, all 5 players fighting towards A early.
Last round of the half, they're just going to go for it. Cortez here. From the shadows, gets him in position now. Relay bolts there. Aspas burns Valin down. And they might want to keep pushing on this. They check the corner. Trent's spot from last round has been vacated. He's playing a bit further back as Artazine deals to Jonah. There's a wrap here from Leaf, but it might be a little bit too slow, and the Viper's Pit won't get value this round. Here's Trent though again, stunning. Lines him up. Special delivery catches on the Verno, but he too is stunned. Down to 7. And Verno will finish the job. That buys enough time though for Leaf to get in position at least, but there's an attack side. Viper's Pit on A, impinging into tree.
Leaf could try to counter Pit to get into tree if he wants, or just fight close. Art's in with the shorty right there, but he's caught.
Even now in numbers, Leaf ready for it. Shorty to hand himself. He dives into the pit. It's a hit, but not enough damage. And Aspas with his own shorty will get MIBR out of that attack side half with 5 rounds. Maybe not as much as they're looking for. G2 choke him out a little bit at the start of that half.
MIBR were looking buried halfway into this so far. And out of a timeout call from their coach Fraud, they were able to string several rounds back. And now they can have a go at this. I'm looking forward to seeing what G2 can bring us on attack today. That is where they struggled against EG yesterday. That is where they faltered and lost this Lotus map for the first time in 2025. It has been their undefeated home ground.
MIBR to grind in that first half, they get themselves to 5. That's good enough for now. Quick break, we'll be back with the second half and conclusion of our second map, Lotus. Oh.
Huh, nature sure is full of wonders. Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Zero is here. 100% wings with monk fruit extract.
By round 7, MIBR had only been able to get themselves 1 round in that first half of Lotus, and they were on the attack side. It was looking pretty dire, but they fight a lot of close rounds and eventually force G2 onto a couple of ecos and then get themselves a 3-round run to get 5 rounds in that first half. It's decent, it's good enough for now, but you know G2 are going to be bringing the heat as they go on the attack themselves.
Back on Haven, MIBR were able to win both pistol rounds, getting off to a hot start both halves, and they closed that map out. So far on Lotus, it's G2 who are up 1-0. as far as pistols go, so let's see if MIBR can even that up here with a trap play set up on B.
Okay, they do have a bit of a crossfire here, and there it is before the fault lines come through. They come from everywhere, by the way. It's just too good. Oh, buddy. Another beautifully executed MIBR pistol round. And not even Trent can ruin their day. Stunning stuff. Breach and Teho util, and of course Aspas there to follow up.
That is exactly how they drew it up. It's just that simple. Walking right into the trap. Fault line, salvos, Aspas, immediate first tap on the jaw as well is just so sick.
And the G2 fault line is not great. It's actually very easily sidestepped by Aspas. I mean, if you can guarantee 3 out of 4 times you're winning those pistol rounds, it puts you in such a good spot in the series, and it puts MIBR 1 round from evening up the game.
That might be the fastest round we get in this entire series, if we're being honest. G2, even though they don't get the spike down on attack, they still want to force. They have stingers, light armors, they're ready to go.
And one thing we saw from MIBR when they were on defense against Sen was that they did want to fight Rubble a lot. They've got this Neon. They want to get value from Aspas, obviously being able to come from odd positions.
Now, this is a position that Aspas wants to be in. He's the guy with a Vandal, taking a longer range look at this main door when G2 come out, wants to be able to spray at range.
Paranoia in the hands of Contezia. We forced off here, TPing away from those salvos. Only takes a small amount of damage and ends up TPing right behind Jorgamo. Tap on the shoulder and a headshot with the Stinger. Keeps it even in this round.
There's a chance maybe Aspas can throw that Vandal over to Shenum trade for the Stinger, so a guy with full armor can get the best weapon available in the server right now. Stealth drone going to get some information towards B for Trent and allow G2 an opportunity to slowly creep towards this A site.
All things considered, you're holding a bunch of Stingers in your G2. You're pretty happy to get so much space taken there on A Rubble already.
Left.
Now you're within striking distance of a site, you use one more wave of that initiator util, and Bob's your uncle.
Slowly walking in, they're not even going to rip that fault line. Verno could be in trouble. They're closing the distance right now. He wants to back up. He's going to have to try and stun himself. Shenum on the swing to protect him, however.
Had the right weapon for it too. Snakebite doesn't really hit. And G2 trying to save that util to stop MIBR's presumed flood. So they get in the site for free, almost.
After this flash, that'll be the last piece of util they have left. Salvos as well. Now it's just going to come down to the gunplay. Can MIBR trade out for each other effectively?
Cold Steel, white knuckle grip on these guns for G2. These things I've got to sing. Aspas for 1. Trento's able to get into the game now, the 1 versus 2, but look how low they are. A bit away with spray and he'd have it. Classic out. Aspas catches him through the corner of the masonry. And we have ourselves an even game.
Barely getting away with that, scraping by. G2 had such an explosive entry into Rubble. When we saw Cortezia put in that high-pressure situation early on, he goes 1 for 1. That's the absolute best you can ask from this guy. Look at what's happening, man. It's such a difficult position to play yourself out of. Shenum does great work protecting Verno there. And then legit, it actually comes down to them having better weapons and getting like better spray penetration through the wall.
Now, something that's fun to look for from MIBR is they'll take that Rubble fight on A, they'll do it on C as well, they'll fight for Mound, they'll do it round after round, but they're going to be set up for it again this time, and here's Aspas meets Valen, head-to-head. Still a bit of an awkward one for G2 weaponry-wise, Sheriff's for them, singing out well enough as Aspas got caught by an aftershock in the end.
Despite having these bad weapons, the fact that they pick up 2 players from MIBR is a testament to how explosive this G2 entry is into Rubble. It is fantastic stuff. Leaf has inserted himself now into the location of the map where the defenders spawn. So we'll see if he can find the timing to just backstab someone, get a rifle, and hey, maybe there's a chance for G2 yet.
G2 have been spending more than teams tend to do after losing that pistol. This is why they've yet to get rifles in their hand. Well, Sheriff does just as well. Shenum there plucked out of that position, and that opens the door now for Jonah to come right on through and get that spike in.
And instead of going for the gun, Leaf is going to opt to try and get into another unexpected position to just get a free backstab kill. Or at that, I mean, hell, Jonah could leave this site if he really wants to.
And he might.
Yeah, that's going to be the decision.
And again, he's happy. He says, I've drawn out a lot of this initiator util. Of course, it's only Teho and Breach that are left, so I've got to be wary of that. He got a bit for free. Oh, buddy! Tucked in the corner. This guy has been magic today. Verno with a special delivery.
Oh, he's just so scared that Jonah is going to swing off of Leaf's contact.
And Jonah's gone elsewhere, bro. He's gone to A. Verno now
standing.
has to extricate himself. Rifle the hand for Jonah. Armor, he's in a
Here's
decent
him.
spot.
He knows where Verno's coming from.
He's in the perfect spot too. Biding his time. Patient killer, but the barrel will be... No, it turns away! And the round crumbles to dust right before MIBR's eyes. It's another Sheriff round for G2. A ridiculous one to win, but hey, that's just what they do.
Leaf was everywhere on the map. They could not locate him on his flank efforts, and he just gets away with 2 free kills
Enemy.
in that 2 versus 3.
Enemy.
He played that situation so well. He's at 22 and 11 right now
Insane,
on
bro.
the Viper.
These kids are getting cooked. That was insane, bro. Actually,
Willing them into this grand final. I mean, hell, he willed them into this lower final yesterday. He's gotten them over the finish line. He's gotten them into Toronto, and now he wants to get them another trophy. Well, Artson says, nah, never mind. I'm just going to spend me down with that shot.
Justin, we had almost forgotten what Artisan's been able to produce this series. He delivers a quick reminder. Okay, Teo Util's going to clear the upper spot. Shinom now knows he's about to get a good look. Trent will be able to reveal him, and he'll have to move away from this aftershock. Slow and steady. G2 expending that Util now on the way in. Clone. Oh, what a relay bolt, though. Not able to capitalize on it. Shinom down. Verno here with the Sheriff on the corner. A lot of shots coming in through the boxes as G2 want to overwhelm, and they do. They are hungry to get this lead extended.
Just so many little things that G2 do right. Jaw waiting for Jonah to be the one who actually swings out. A guy with more HP so he doesn't go down, lose his rifle. Now they're into the 4-on-3, and what a timing to catch it to Artson.
And he had the Rolling Thunder. He was lining up some of that util. Completely smacked back down, and now MIBR have got to consider just how much they want to commit.
Okay, that's a nice little peek from Cortesia. Go to teleport into the dark cover.
Cortesia's going for it quiet so far today, and he will remain muted. Aspas is going to do something crazy there, and Jonah P established order in the sacred timeline at C2 now, building that lead up once more. MIBR at least have a chance to buy in here.
Jonah comes up with a great three-piece. Jaw finds the entry, but then he's so weak, and look at this. He lets Jonah be the first one to round the corner against that Sheriff, so he doesn't go down to one single body shot.
Enemy remaining.
And from there, he's just on cleanup duty.
I mean, at that point, you're improvising. As MIBR, you're TPing onto a side as Cortesia when there's a fast lane up. Now, though, more to work with, and still that breach ultimate kept by Artisan.
Aspas going to play off of the standard one-way dark cover that's thrown over towards Mound. Hazard's in to throw a fault line for him if contact is taken.
Door toggled by Aspas. Enough to see the drone. Verno also checking with his own over towards the A side to see if there's more than just the token lurk. Aspas down to 5. Magic number for him, though. Off we run.
And in the meantime, Leaf had been slowly trying to get his way up towards A, but was caught by Verno's stealth nerve. And now caught himself as he tries to find a timing window through the wall. Absolutely punished for the hubris there.
The most casual of walks I've ever seen.
That spells his team into a 3 versus 5, where now it's Trent who's trying to explore, trying to find an opening, but everything is being covered by MIBR.
I mean, you have no info. No way of gaining it. Play at disadvantage. The upshot is that he can still keep putting pressure next round with some of these weapons. But now Verno and Artisan both develop those ultimates.
30
Jonah P
seconds left.
has a look. VALORANT 2100 might fancy trying to keep a lid on this money for MIBR. A win against Artisan here would be big.
Yeah, some damage would not hurt. Right call here from Artson, though. Backing off, going to play very passively.
Valen tracking that
Enemy
corner.
remaining. 10 seconds left.
Fundamentals looking good for Artisan.
Nice try.
Jonah smacks him. Next up's Verno. Spacing I wouldn't say is sublime, but Verno's got the moves. Nice slide outward. It's a one-round game now, keeping it competitive. MIBR on this defense side are getting a lot more done than they could against Sen.
Yeah, they've done a nice job on that round there of just applying that early C-mount pressure. It was this fight with Aspas, able to isolate onto Jaw, slide away, and then Lee feels like it's time for him to go. because he had already gotten spotted out by that drone, there was a high awareness to his presence if he does try to push forward. So
Just fucking lean back here a bit.
actual
All right,
big bro.
I'm giving Verno like it. I'm giving Verno like an 8 out of 10. Aspas, of course, perfect marks.
He's the
always.
OG. He's still learning.
There's
from
like a
his
little
big bro.
hitch. There's like a little hitch halfway down. You know, can't
Right,
allow
it wasn't
that.
smooth the entire. Yeah, there was
Exactly.
a little stutter. Look at there though. Keep working. Still his rookie year.
I mean, again, those two are.
He's learning from the best.
They're very cute. Little Verno Zine.
They are two cute little guys.
Yeah.
with him changing his
Instagram
IG
tag.
handle
Yeah.
to match Aspas. Aw.
It's cool, man. It's just,
Guys.
it's cool to see something that rarely works out. And what I mean is like a foreign player coming into a team that previously been speaking probably Portuguese, but I mean, we know everyone on MIBR. We talk to them all the time. Like, their English is awesome. They've welcomed Verno with open arms, and it seems like it's a match made in heaven. Is it enough to get him over the line on Lotus?
Luckily for them, they were able to save 4 of those rifles on a round where their economy was on the line. So they'll be able to buy here and buy the next at least. And they might need to buy in the next because G2 have a hell of a lot of ultimates. As do they, to be fair. This should be an explosive round. Again, this dark cover is being thrown down immediately, but it's Jaw with a dimensional drift going to run through B, send the gate crash, towards the door, getting a lot of info towards Waterfall. What does the C setup look like for MIBR?
Okay,
they get into the site.
No way! Oh, the clone! Aspas not ready for that at all. Smacks down. Jogamo now needs to respect this aftershock. And gate crashes on out to a relatively safe place. Here's now the Rolling Thunder. It's wave upon wave of util from G2, and Cortez at least deals with leave. But Hardazine holds his ground.
How does
G2 are out of there.
How does he go 1 for 1, and now Jaw is caught by Shenum. Jaw had put them in such an excellent position, saw the Cortesia, he had made that teleport forward. That's why the Rolling Thunder was sent out, and he still goes 1 for 1 while stunned, and then Artzin, instantaneous follow-up. Beautiful trade from him. He is so on point today. This might be the best game we've seen from Artzin since the first game, actually, of this stage, where he dropped some unreal numbers on the breach.
And he's doing it without a judge. It's been real nice. But that Cortesia kill might have been the pivotal one. Again, the money's just teetering here for G2. It's not in a good place at all. Trent's out of util entirely. Drone spots, and there's Jonah. It had to be a solo mission. Trent will have to try and drag himself out of these salvos. He can. 1 versus 3. It's dicey. Already Artazine's down. He'll fold back. Trent, can he? So hard to catch, but Verno will sink his teeth in. Once more, we're tied up.
G2 had all of the information. They made the right plays there, but the gunplay from MIBR, they are just shooters, top to bottom, this entire roster. Late into stage 1, when you were looking at the stats comparison of their players to the entire field of VCT, they had the tightest distribution of stats. All of their players were putting on star performances on any given day. And right now, in a round like that, you have Shenum picking up a huge kill over towards the A side. Artzin with that rapid trade. Cortesia somehow finding his in the stun. There's just no one on the squad you can go up against and not feel like you're in danger.
This Lotus map is building now to a pretty explosive climax. Round 19 coming up, and our teams are 9 apiece. And like we mentioned that previous round, money troubles for G2. Just a Guardian at best for them.
Wow. Past several rounds, Leaf has met his match over towards that A side. Again, fast trade, Aspas hungry for more.
And he knows he's got the advantage. He knows he's got the better weapon. Might be one of the sharpest individuals we have here at Americas. But he still respects the numbers from G2 and backs away. But implies with that fast lane that he might have gone in the waterfall direction. So we'll see if they check this. Weird angle. Pulls the trigger a little too early.
What?
Still gets away. Plot armor at least for Aspas as well, it seems.
1 enemy remaining.
Here's Trent. Sheriff, just the Sheriff out there on mound. And the human tornado will sweep him away. We're not in Kansas anymore, Trent.
Eventually just surrounded by MIBR, closing in on them. I just want to draw attention to the first kill. This is Shenum again, over towards this A side. It's been him a couple times. Bruno on a prior round where Leaf has stopped getting value. They are disrespecting his efforts to get space on A alone as the Viper. They are having none of it. And what is the response from G2? well, they're going to send their entire team over towards A and fight for this hard. They are so good at this explosive entry. But actually, they're going to take it slow this time. Juxtaposed to the way earlier in this half they were trying to get into rubble.
But they're preserving that util maybe for this second wave, the second push-up. Cortesia. Paranoia in position. It's only him and Tree right now, though. This might be the timing. Sidestep there. Here comes an Armageddon from the defenders. Eventually, you've got to get moving, but Jorg knows he has some time. There's VALORANT. Aspas dealt with now, heading into Tree. G2 brimming with confidence. Tony Artesian, and he wants to get forward. He wants to get ahead of this.
They made that trap play look like a joke. VALORANT just walks forward with Jaw, and they dismantle the defenders. They're trying to find kills off the Armageddon. That looked like it required less than no effort to deal with.
And where's the trade opportunity? There just is none. G2 just walk up to MIBR, take 2 kills, walk away scot-free. Shannon again in a really important position. Last round was the opener. Now is the second wave. Heads go rolling. They do. But eventually Trent can shut him down. It still puts G2 at a player advantage. And now MIBR have to come together. Once more, though, it's both their initiators flushed with util.
This round is of the utmost importance for G2 to win, and despite having the man advantage, you know they're going to want to use ultimates to get this over the finish line. So there's that Viper's Pit, and just in case, Trent is still sitting on the Armageddon.
Artesian's been a bit slow on this, maybe checking his back line. Armageddon comes on through. Verno knows he's got to step forward, and he finds himself the one. Eventually falling to Trent's ultimate, though. And Artesian with 1 flashpoint, 70 points of health. And 2 players to bowl over now, has to step up to the plate. Nothing to see, Decay down to 1. Time working against him. He'll spray, he'll speculate, he'll hope, but hope won't get you there. G2 even it up again.
Yeah, at the very least for MIBR, they can walk away feeling moderately content with getting the ultimates out at the end of that round, forcing G2 to have to expend both of them to get the win. But they're going to be frustrated that this trap play they set up was all for naught. Man. It was the right idea. They were playing back rubble. They did walk out. But they could not capitalize off of the G2 positioning being thrown into disarray by all of their utility. They just
weren't
straight
pressed.
up lost duels.
They weren't pressed, G2, by that Armageddon coming in or any of the salvos. They just stepped out of the way and stuck to the plan.
They looked so disinterested and unimpressed with everything that had been thrown at them. It's kind of funny, but all right, MIBR, they are in a pretty tricky economic spot. They've got a few rifles into this, and the 2 players with absolutely nothing.
Shannon has a pit to funnel potentially to B. So that's an option. After he sees the drone come in now, obviously wants to avoid suppression. He does.
Bit of a late reclear, makes sure to break it with the classic as well. Just no, I don't have the rifle over here.
Leaf unfortunately can't hide the fact. Aspas steps out, just takes a raw fight. Eventually help comes, but the timing was bizarre.
Leaf is cooling off. Trent at least comes in for the trade and a little bit more, shuts down Verno as well and allows the team to pivot here towards this A side.
Mr. Consistent is Trent. Cortesia, man on a mission. Like Solid Snake with only a paper clip and maybe a rubber band to work with, just the classic.
30 seconds left.
Or can he cobble together? That's stunning for Shannon, though. All of a sudden, things look a bit more doubtful for G2. This is an important round. It's so pivotal. And Shannon, though, is just stunned up. Great special delivery.
He is stuck in a one-and-done position that G2 are able to take advantage of. Trent, life on the line there. Oh my god, if Arts didn't pick that, it looked like he was going to.
It would have been perfect too, and the timing works against him. Cortesia. TP's to fake one, and he's standing right on top of these salvos. It's looking dire. It's looking grim. The upshot is that he can buy in the next round, so let's see what he can rustle up out here. Some vittles, some grub, no. An early grave. Another 3-piece for Jonah P and G2. One giant step forward for this team.
You said it. If there's ever a player that's going to step up that they can rely on, it's going to be Trent. Especially in 2025. He has just always been there for G2 when they need him. Finds the trade for Leaf and then gets the advantage on top of it by winning a second duel towards B main. And from there, G2 have their choice of where they want to finish, which site they want to hit. MIBR forced into the timeout. Earlier on this map, back in the first half when their first timeout was used by Coach Fraud. He put them on a run. They got 3 rounds in a row to make their attack half decent enough to stay in this game, to hang around, and that's where they're at. Let's see if he can do it again and get them over the finish line. Steal away G2's home map, which they've only lost 1 time on this year.
But it was recent. Proper recent.
There, it was yesterday, matter of fact. It actually just happened. It's the last time they played it is yesterday, and they're still having nightmares about Ye clutching on them with a Sheriff, winning 1v3s.
MIBR, and they springboard into the second half after a bit of a slow start to Lotus with a big pistol round win. And since then, they've managed to gather some crucial rounds together. 7-5 half, recoverable for them. They still are behind the 8 ball to a degree, and their opponents in G2 are armed to the teeth. They've got a dimensional drift for Jorgamo here as well.
Ospas just the stinger, but of course that's because he has the overdrive, going to try and get some serious value with that ult, and it looks like aggression is the idea from MIBR. All 5 players right at the barrier drop for B and C.
Aspas wants to be forward. G2 say, we're ready for it. They played the slow default, expecting the push up, and there's more where that came from, apparently.
Here.
Jorgamo gets behind. He sees that last player at Mound and Artesine. Oh, buddy, into the waiting arms of Jorg as he tried to escape. This is bad news for MIBR. The money's in shambles. They take a huge risk, a gambit off Aspas that doesn't pay off.
Completely falls flat in the face of G2's awareness that a play like that could be coming. That is a pretty standard play in the playbook for everyone on Lotus defense, especially when you have the Neon running that early BC pinch, straight running at the attacking side. They were stacked up, ready for it, and it looked like Jorgamo hit a stunner shot onto Ospas to really just shut that effort down in its entirety. Verno relegated to a slow, sad save. G2 can afford to hunt a little bit.
We saw the stats coming into the game. Verno with a higher KD than Aspas, even though has a lower ACS, is because we have a lot of rounds like this. Verno is the Teo player, needs to be hanging around late in the round, so often survives, has less deaths than his contemporaries. That's a nice little pick on Leaf, but doesn't really furrow the brow of G2, who now stand on map points. Doing pretty well weapon-wise, and it's up to MIBR to cobble something together.
God, that is lethal from Jaw. And then Trent just spamming through the dark cover, which I still also just love that that's being placed again, just displaying how aware G2 are of the situation that's headed their way. 1 away from tying up this series 1-1. RG2 on their home map of Lotus, intentions of getting out into rubble early. Going to be slowed down by that initial fault line, and Valorant taking a ton of damage. That Guardian high bullet pen through the wall.
Yeah, Artesine, good spray early in the round, and there is a Viper's Pit already set up on C. Now, we do sometimes see teams pivot into this pit, and you can clear it, of course, with, I don't know, a Rolling Thunder. Jonah P has one of those. Drone comes out on the B side, he sees the gate crash comes in, so Shannon not sure that G2 have been put off this idea of going C.
MIBR have rotated over towards B right now, as they have some fair information close A with Cortesia playing up close. Wow, they are just going to Rolling Thunder Shannon right out of this.
He's likely to be caught by this unless he can tuck in that bottom corner. Unlikely he gets there in time. Trent opens with a drone. Here's a lot of util to flush the pit out. They know where the Viper is, and here comes the Rolling Thunder now. Shannon gotta be forced back. Now, can't do much there. Jaw's able to run him over. That pit will dissipate now as the defenders try and get set up here in Waterfall. But Lee, he's already so far forward. Jaw on the site itself. Just lazily steps out of the way of that incoming util.
Trent is about to have the Armageddon when he gets the spike down too.
2 players up though for G2. Spray for Cortesia. Finally gets in the game. And what a savior! Just as it looked like it was all done, Cortesia steps up and keeps MIBR in the game.
I don't know where he came from. It looked like they had no hope whatsoever. Down a man after Shenham is just routed out of that pit, has no hopes in that situation.
One enemy remaining.
Just the spam through. Oh my god, he didn't even get back out with the classic.
Nice! Nice for this.
You gotta win those. G2 have a timeout left over coming into this round 24. What better time to make use of it? God forbid, in their opinion, that things go far enough that we get into OT. That's when we enter the Bizarro world, where everything's made up and the points don't matter, and MIBR could steal the map away. You mentioned the Armageddon being developed by Trent in that fight. Never had an opportunity to use it in that round.
MIBR were just so, they hit the gas. They were in there way too quickly for Trent to even have an opportunity to let it go off, which is a testament to a good decision from MIBR to not ease up while the spike was being planted. They did not give G2 an opportunity to position themselves. You just have to give credit to Cortezia for manifesting that round win out of thin air. He's been slow to start in this series, but maybe this is the turning point for him individually to really wake up. He has been one of the easy Rookie of the Year candidates.
We come to a fork in the road. Either an even series or overtime here on Lotus, where G2 would be at risk of dropping a consecutive map. Bated breath here, and you can feel the tension in the room. Armageddon available for Trent, and Rolling Thunder for Artazine just around the corner. It looks like we're set for a good old rubble fight. Off we go.
Instant fault line going to come through from Artazine, and now G2 trying to scale out.
Jorg gets deep, but there's no one there to meet him. Aspas apparently found him. That's dirty. He was pushed forward. G2 sent Jorg so deep and weren't really there to back him up.
And now you can see Trent having to run back towards spawn. They're worried that someone from MIBR could be pushed up out of C, pushing up out of B.
Oh, they look nervous. They look extremely nervous. Paranoia for Jonah.
Yeah, just used by Cortezia to maintain control of this A side of the map. G2, they have to re-clear everything. They have no control of Mountain. The dark cover just expired. They're just going to have to pure contact that on the opposite side of the map.
Okay, here comes that aforementioned clear. Aspas is too clean! Too clean!
Remaining.
And in the perfect round to get going, he gets it done. Valen disoriented, surrounded inside the poison orb. And Jenna will put him to bed. This one's headed to extra innings.
The G2 just try to work both sides of the map, divided 50-50, and either side completely crushed by the MIBR defensive setup. We demanded that Aspas show up today after such an uncharacteristic underperformance against Sentinels yesterday that's gotten them into this lower bracket spot, and he is making good on that promise. He is stepping up. 24 for 17, sick 2K on that final round.
Haphazard rubble fight though for G2. They send the vanguard of Jorg forward first, and he doesn't check his 6. Just gives up the kill for free, and they can't recover from there.
But I gotta mention, at one point, Leaf had 10 more kills than the next highest player on G2 and was at 22 and 11. He has cooled off. MIBR had his number.
He's been a 00 agent so far. After that, here's Trent O'Shannon getting taken down. He looks to probe on B, but G2 are very proactive this round. And quickly, Leaf starts to move into a backstab position. This is going to draw Verno away from Mound, but seems very lightly held for G2. They want the retake.
Verno versus Leaf on the flank, just going to keep him in his place with that. Molly doesn't want to take a fight to him. Martin in some serious danger from that spam, and he does go down to Trent.
Spike is down though. MIBR down to 3. But if Aspas is alive, anything is possible. Here's Leaf on the other side of the door. Verno, oh, Buddy on the move as well. Cortezio finds one, and here we go once more. MIBR disadvantaged, but in a position to punish a defuse attempt. Oh, there it is, the slide is in. And Aspas has arrived once more. Jonah goes low from that one, walks into a crossfire. Oh, come on, man. Valen now has to salvage the round, but he's burnt to a crisp. Daddy's home.
And that is why Aspas is the GOAT of Valorant. Unbelievable 4K. Uses everything he's got in his arsenal. Rifle, shorty, enough kills to get the overdrive.
Away with elbow, a sharp word. Flick of the wrist and it's job done. Oh man, that gives me chills.
Trent looks stunned at what just happened. That was a 5 versus 3 advantage for G2.
Oh, buddy. Gotta be a tense timeout for G2. Even around 24, they looked a little bit shaken, especially after the Jorgamo foray didn't work. How are they feeling right now? You think some of the narrative coming into this game was that the stress was off them a little bit. They've made Toronto, but it means so much to them to get such a big leg up. Clearly, this game is one they are so hungry to win, but they have let, bit by bit, brick by brick, MIBR build back into this game. And now, they're one round away from taking it and going 2-0.
G2 taking a moment to just calm themselves down a bit, let the frustrations ease out of their minds from that last round, knowing you were in position to have that 13-12 lead, to be one round away from getting to that third map, tying up the series 1-1. But now they are on the precipice of being one map away from knocked out in third place. MIBR could get this series up to a 2-0 lead if they can convert this one defensive round.
Aspas forward on Mound, but he's got two other players to back him up, other crossfires to hold. Relay ball thrown out, and man, the correction is stunning. He'll slide forward, completely unhinged, but Artazine, the safe pair of hands there, will at least trade.
He made a correction. I don't think he could see a thing. He just knows he is locked in. Verno is controlling all of Leaf in these situations had been so aggressive, but he's been getting shut down this time. Is Verno the one getting too aggro? Yes, he is. Leaf bides his time, finds the kill.
Toxin screen
And
down.
now 2 rounds in OT in a row. It's G2 with a man advantage heading into the post plant. They have to get this done. They have to convert here.
And this time, MIBR are without their star player. Aspas fell after that kerfuffle on Mound. So
Toxin
Shenum
screen down.
and Artazine have got to bring the heat.
Those guys are looking like number 2 and 3 right now on the team, though, if we're being real. That is still a potent duo to go up against, no matter what your advantages are.
Crucially, Fault Line obviously off cooldown, and Artazine has both those flashes because he wasn't involved heavily in that first fight. Not in a position to really use that util anyway.
Artazine just has to use his Fault Line to try to get back into B main safely because he needs to go through the door.
Jenims, though, is creeping up on this line. All of G2 grouped here in Baby Door, and no one's looking to wrap around. Snakebite here could be pretty rough as well. Artazine doesn't know if there's anyone upper. Paranoia comes, oh, biting his tool on the line, that's tough. And it's Shenum, 1 versus 3. Leaf to step up first. The spacing's got to be perfect here for G2, but they've got the numbers, and Shenum doesn't feel confident for a defuse. That's 1 down, but there's more where that came from.
Enemy remaining.
That's 2, and still no time to work with. Valen knows it will fall. But G2 somehow survived the round.
That just ends up being a 3K for the stat sheet only. G2 playing to their advantage of time and numbers to close that out in textbook fashion. OT continues. That unbelievable round from Aspas going up in smoke.
Yeah, just a memory now. Just one for the highlight reel. We have reset things. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Aspas in overtimes on Lotus, well, we had a record-breaking performance from him last year. 47 kills, the current America's kill record. And speak of the man.
So fast. Oh my god, he's still going!
Oh my goodness! Jonah flattened. There's only so far the insanity can go, apparently, but it's still a player advantage. Oh, I say that.
Spike down.
Player advantage dissipates very quickly. Young Verno always finds himself in this position.
That's just the clone running forward. Has to clear out heaven, face towards Baby Door. Needs to get the spike down against an enemy Tejo. Currently, Trent doesn't have those missiles, but they will be cycling back up soon.
Still a minute to figure this out. All the util that Verno was going to have this round is back on deck. Really, what are you supposed to do? The economic side of saving, not a factor here in overtime, and it's something Verno normally opts for. In these situations, he just holds the weapon.
Jaw is all the way wrapping.
I mean, Verno's
Right through spawning.
is allowed for a lot of time. What's the plan
30
here?
seconds left.
30 to play. The spike's been known and noted by G2, so no risk of them just drifting off to other parts of the map.
He is really hoping that someone on G2 would overplay this situation and show themselves. It's not going to happen, and it's resulted in time just dwindling so low for him.
Yeah, no time here at all, really. Got to push into this fight, and it's taken down. Foregone conclusion. Takes us another minute to realize it, though. And now G2 get themselves ahead. Win that defense side round to convert now for the map.
Osboss was going crazy on this entry. That first kill on the Jonah was so sick. But then, just in the blink of an eye, you're talking about them having man advantage, and suddenly G2 just peek from 3 different angles and get 3 different kills, and all of a sudden it's over. I mean, even Fraud, you see his face there. That's the exact moment where he realized everybody died in an instant. It's like, what just happened? And that was my reaction too. All right, G2 1 away from tying up the series.
And the characteristic 3-player mound fight setup. This time G2 don't want to test. The stakes, perhaps a little too high. They'll counter smoke out the one way. And head for pastures greener. That's the A side, which looks like Stardew Valley by comparison. It's just Verno.
Gets the stun onto Trent, but ultimately very irrelevant. He is going to be under a lot of pressure and knows he just needs to get out of here.
Neon up and sees those salvos come in. Leap will surely follow them up, and Verno on the move, still clear. Oh, buddy!
Down A.
Rips them apart. Cortesia does drop Spike. Out there on the A side, though, loose as Verno gets it dropped. And now Artisan's here to back him up. Valon is tucked. Now it's a waiting game. Is MIBR want to flood back in? It hurts them. It works against them. It's up to Verno. It has to be 4. The Spike's headed away. It's been recovered, and again, Verno has to clutch this time to save the map.
The whole team showed up to support Verno, but then they just did too much. They already had the advantage. Forced G2 to make the move. They wanted to end that round right in that moment, but it's left Verno, who was the hero at the beginning of this, finding that 2K in a nearly impossible situation against Trent, who has missiles and the Armageddon at his disposal.
Surely that is too much to ask for. Surely that is too much. Verno here. Once again has to go looking. Gives it a tap, and the Armageddon is expected. Verno lingers, hoping someone plays off of it. It's G2 after all. There's no way that's happening. Time getting shorter. Salvos here. It's a foregone conclusion. A deterministic round, and map win here for G2. Verno can only await his fate. It's signed and sealed. G2 take their map pick.
Trent coming up so huge in that last round to get them 3 kills, bring them over the finish line. MIBR were in prime position to keep that OT going, but they overplayed the situation, and the Tejo from G2 punished them for it. He ends up with 28 kills on the map out of nowhere. Trent tops the board for their team. Osboss with a sick performance, even for his standards, but it just wasn't enough. G2, they took 1 loss on Lotus. They got knocked